Mistakes doctors commonly make on APS forms for fibromyalgia claims. Did you know that disability carriers like Lincoln National, Cigna, and Unum require that your doctor fill out forms called attending physician forms, or APS forms, that are purposely designed so that your doctor says you can work? Yes, even with all the symptoms you have with fibromyalgia, the carrier is leading your doctor down the path to a claim denial or a claim termination. In this video, I'm going to talk about the games that disability carriers play in the APS form, what the disability carrier doesn't want you to know about their sneaky APS forms, and how you can protect yourself from a claim denial or a claim termination. When you bought your disability insurance policy, you probably thought that if you became disabled because of fibromyalgia and were unable to work, that the disability carrier would accept what your doctor said about your ability to work and FedEx you a check. Well, the reality is quite different. Are you ready to learn the games that disability carriers play with APS forms and fibromyalgia claims? The problem will start because you and your doctor don't know or understand the policy terms that are in play. This problem starts with not knowing the definition of disability. Do you have to establish by objective evidence that you're disabled as a result of your fibromyalgia? The other problem is you may not know what the definition of the occupation is. It's not always what job you did at the time you became disabled. It could be based on the terms of the policy what your job was based on how it's performed in the national economy, or how it's performed based on the Dictionary of Occupational Titles. So you need to know these basic questions before you even start discussing an attending physician statement form with your doctor. Now, these problems can be compounded by the attending physician statement form itself. Look at the attending physician statement questionnaire. It does not ask questions, in my view, that are relevant to somebody who has fibromyalgia. Sure, it asks questions about how long you can sit, stand, walk, stoop, and bend, but those aren't the only problems that you have because of fibromyalgia. You might have cognitive issues, you might have fatigue, you might have irritable bowel syndrome issues. So the form is designed purposely not to ask the right questions. I'm a Social Security disability attorney and I handle fibromyalgia cases all the time. So I take the fibromyalgia residual functional capacity form in a Social Security case and I revise the carrier's APS form so it asks the right questions. So let's take a longer look at this APS form. It asks questions about the date of your disability. When did it start? Is that consistent, by the way, with what's in your medical records? Is it consistent with what you've told your employer? And by the way, do you have coverage on the date you claim you're disabled? Now, the other question that's key on this APS form is a request for objective evidence that supports the diagnosis or supports the day the doctor says you're unable to work or supports the restrictions and limitations. That's a lot of support, isn't it? Now, sometimes the policies will require objective evidence, but many times they don't, but they will apply this objective standard. So we want to make sure that when the doctor fills out the APS form, that the doctor is documenting any serological tests or other tests that have been done to rule out other causes of your symptoms, that they do a physical examination consistent with the American College of Rheumatology criteria for the diagnosis of fibromyalgia, and that they do that on a regular basis, not just once. I also want to see the medical support for the restrictions and limitations, and that might be based on your muscle spasm, your joint pain, your fatigue, but I want the doctor to be discussing why they have assigned the restrictions and limitations. What's the medical support for those restrictions and limitations? Now, one of the other interesting things on the APS form is they want to know a return to work date, and I don't like the term indefinite. I think that the doctor should give an estimate, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is. But the other issue that arises in the APS forms are the treatment plan. The carrier wants to know what the treatment is that's being offered. And sometimes they will actually take the position that the treatment that's being offered is not consistent with the diagnosis or will result in any improvement. So they'll criticize the treatment plan. So your doctor needs to explain what the treatment plan is. And ultimately, what your response was to that particular treatment plan, because again, the carrier is going to potentially criticize your doctor's treatment plan and your response. And just as important, they're going to be looking at your medical records to see whether you're compliant with that treatment plan. So there are some more common mistakes that doctors make on an APS form, and that is saying the same thing over and over, because they're going to be asked to fill out these forms more than once. That is a red light to carriers. They don't expect the doctor's going to say the same things, so we want to see some variation. And they want to see an explanation. Just saying the same thing, checking the same boxes isn't going to do it. Or saying, go look at the medical records. Doctor's got to give them more than just that in support of your claim. The definition of disability and occupation found in your policy, your medical records, and a well-developed and completed residual functional capacity form can make all the difference in getting the long-term disability benefits you deserve as a result of fibromyalgia. If you have questions about your rights to your long-term disability benefits as a result of fibromyalgia, give me a call at 727-894-3188. I can help you get the benefits you deserve regardless of where you live in the United States. I've represented thousands of clients with fibromyalgia. I understand what you're going through, and I understand what needs to be shown to the disability carrier to get those benefits. Call today, 727-894-3188.